Carolyn Oceana Ryan, message to Lightworkers July 6, 2016. Website, www.carolynoceanaryan.com. The latest guidance from our friends, the galactic and angelic beings known as the Collective. Greetings, friends and fellow Lightbringers. We are thankful for this chance to speak with you again today. You are aware of the fast-moving changes happening in your world now, the entire world, and not only the more obviously powerful countries. There is much reason for this. For you stand on a sort of cosmic highway, one might say, a well-positioned planet, full of what have been considered plentiful resources long drawn upon by one group or another. As one lightworker has put it, Earth is well placed on what might be called the Silk Road of this universe. And we would say that in the past, this put your planet in a position of having not only of enviable beauty, riches, and diversity, but experiencing the vulnerability that can occur in a free will universe, in which so many different groups, of varying intentions, have traveled through. Whereas in the past, you might believe yourselves to be at the mercy of one powerful group or another, we would say that you are now in fact witnessing the beginning of the liberation of your planet. That is so, even in the midst of seeming chaos, and the apparent triumph of the fraudulent and the corrupt. We have called them not rulers, but usurpers, for that is what they are. For they had no permission from those upon your planet, nor those they brought here for different purposes, to rule all of you with an iron hand and utter disregard for individual or cultural rights and freedoms. Your free will was overtaken by theirs, in other words. And so they restricted the idea of freedom to mean something that occurs in certain eras, in certain countries, but not everywhere at once. They taught the masses that their idea of freedom was a thing to argue over, even to go to war over, stipulating that it can only occur under certain conditions, and what a shame that it cannot be established everywhere all the time, but that was God's will. We assure you, there has been no dimension and no era in human history, or any group's history, when Creator God, Goddess, who is Mother, Father God, or Source Energy, has stipulated that freedom can only occur at certain times and in certain places upon the earth. And yet, all the powers of the higher realms have allowed this madness to go on and on. You say, and understandably so. Yes, they have allowed it. But not because they lacked compassion, or because they thought it would be preferable for the peoples of Earth or other third-dimensional planets to suffer indefinitely. Nor did they or you need worry that oppression would continue indefinitely. For it cannot. There are in your universe, as there are in others, astrological and etheric ages that independently move in and out, phasing from one era to the next after so many years, as counted by your universe, similar to the movement of the wheels of a large old clock in a European town square. As the bodies and etheric influences of this universe, planets, constellations, and currents of light and sentient energies, move in their given paths, they bring each planet, and particularly the well-populated Earth, from one era of time to another. The Hindus, and the shamans of many indigenous tribes, have for centuries had visions of these universal movements from one era to another, and made note of them. The Hindus named them as four ages or yugas. These can be described in myriad ways, but we will describe them for now simply as the Treta Yuga, an era of rising above time. The Dwapara Yuga, a time of rising above materialism. The Kali Yuga, an age of terror and conflict, which you have been experiencing on the earth for thousands of years. And the age you are at present entering, moving through the gateway into the era of what is called the Sat Yuga, or Satya Yuga, the Golden Age, in which humankind releases the duality and illusion of the darker ages. In this Golden Age, you will not labor under cruel taskmasters until you physically die, destined to repeat, in a time and karmic matrix, one earth existence after another, born into different eras and in different ethnicities, sexes, seeking soul growth in the most difficult and densest of environments. Human beings will in fact become now increasingly aware of soul growth on all levels of life and existence, speaking of it as easily as people now speak of the weather. This awareness, this awakened state you are leading Earth's people into, with your very presence upon the Earth at this time, is a crucial step in moving out of the victim stance of the Earth human, and into empowered fifth dimensional earth living. You are correct if you have been thinking that the old forces, the O regime, is unhappy at what their astrologers have been telling them. Those astrologers brave enough tell the truth, and not only what their overlords want to hear. They are aware of the occurrence of the Sat Yuga, and despise it, and all it brings to humankind. And what does it bring? What you are already building, at this moment, a new era, in which justice, equality, freedom, truth, beauty, peace and all that accompany them will reign on the earth, beginning with a new fifth dimensional version of your planet, which shall never again sink to such lows as it did in the era of the Kali Yuga. We encourage you at this time, that when you hear that this criminal or that will not be indicted or that insufficient evidence was gathered to prove their crimes, that you step away from these false announcements. They are intentionally created to discourage and enrage lightworkers, with the intent of dampening your absorption of the higher energies coming to the planet, and to thwart and downplay the effects of your ongoing investment in joyful visions of, and your claiming of, the new earth. Be aware that there are certain programs in use at present that are intentionally designed to derail lightworkers from their path. It may be something less obvious, such as the frequencies and images emitted during certain futuristic or dramatic science fiction films and television shows that purport to show Earth one desperate scenario or another. It might be something apparently innocent and seemingly positive, such as talk of a reval or GCR, as if the current forms of currency on the planet need only a reset, not a complete deletion, with the instituting of new forms of currency, all of them equal to one another, and all of them based not on currency trading schemes, but a quality and new system backed by precious metals. You are not in this alone, and so, do not behave as they have taught you to behave, seeking after get-rich schemes that supposedly signal the new Earth's government, but which in fact are based on the machinations of the old one. Allow yourself to see that all is becoming new again, that you will not need to draw on your third-dimensional training to create a fifth-dimensional world. Look beyond the seemingly negative moments of violence or conflict or deceit, furthered by your media and your world governments. Understand that when Britain voted to leave the European Union, it opened the floodgates to every country leaving it. And regardless of what the apparent economic returns will be now that that decision has been taken, it is a powerful signal to the old order that their time is done. And so note the positive movements, the inner realizations, the moments when the commentators on the television say that they have never seen an election like this, for indeed, they haven't. Note the many polls that indicate that people are not fooled by this candidate or that, and put no stock in their claims and promises. Note the love and compassion that reaches out all across the world for those killed or injured in the explosions and shootings created to instill fear and increase hatred. For they in fact are doing the opposite. In this time of the burgeoning golden era, only more love results from these events, not less. There is only more beautiful, empowering sureness within human hearts, of the sacred right of each individual to live out their life path in peace and justice, and that all life is perfectly interconnected. In this new context, that which is intended for the dense and the dark shall nevertheless only far more encourage the light. And you are here now, with your calm responses and inner knowing, as you see all that is unfolding, you are here to anchor that confidence into human hearts and minds, and into the earth herself. Let it heal you, even from moments of shock or sadness, and let it heal your earth. And be of good cheer, dear ones. You are here now, at the beginning. The universe is only just now beginning to usher in the higher light, higher consciousness, in such amounts and with such power, we could not begin to describe it to you in your limited human language. You will have to experience it, heart first, and you are. Namaste, dear ones. We are constantly with you. Copyright 2016, Carolyn Oceana Ryan. Website, www.carolinoceanaryan.com